Okay, so had a job once, and I put a little bit of money into this 401k that they said it was one of the perks, and that they would match it, and then we would allocate some of it to some different funds, usually mutual funds. And I use companies like this. I'm not picking on July. It just happens to be one of the service providers. And, so that service they're providing to the company and then to the company's employees is a portal. It's a portal into being able to move those investments around. And so here's in July the July Service Company, a list of funds that you get to choose from. In having those choices, it's like a menu. It's a menu of mutual funds, and it's like going to a restaurant. You have some menus are really large and have lots of good stuff on it. Some are not as large. Well, in most cases, like this one's got, I don't know, it looks like 50 or so, I'll count that, funds to choose from. So, but unless you go into like the American Century Emerging Market Fund and look at the prospectus and then do some due diligence on each one of these, it's sort of hard to figure out which is the best one to get into. So like even this one, BlackRock Life Path Index Retirement, or here's an Index 2025. So if your goal was to make a certain amount of money by the end of this year or this year or this year, then these index funds are, at least they tell us that they're designed to help us get closer to retirement on those years. So these are the ticker symbols that go with them. So you can go to grab that ticker symbol and put it in and go to a Market Watch and read a little bit about that and even see a chart. Hang on. Sorry, that's not the best one to go to. This is a money market fund. I went to the money market fund. I won't do that. So you can take a ticker, put it in, and find on Finance Yahoo that this 2065 index fund, price $12.65, year to date it's doing that. So it doesn't look like it's going up at the moment. Here's in a year, it went up, now it's going down. So for us to really choose which of these to do, it's quite a bit of work. So there's a tool that I know how to use that really helps not only look at them all at the same time, but also to rank them as to how they're doing with. This is really kind of hard. I don't have a script. I'm not very good at this, so y'all bear with me. A lot of times these funds are really limited as to how much upside there is. I took each of these ticker symbols and loaded them into a program that's available to really anybody. I took those ticker symbols and I loaded them into a watch list on a tool that's available to anybody. So now here they are, just in a different platform, and I'm able to look at different views of it. So a performance, all the performance charts. So basically it's saying that these guys, and it puts them in order, these guys, they're not performing so well based upon a period of time, 5-day, and these are performing better. So by putting it in this tool, now I can rank it and put the fastest horses at the top. So at least I know where, if I do have a limited menu of investment vehicles to choose from, now I can at least put it in an order of how well it's doing based upon some indicators, and I will show you that. BlackRock Life. This says 100% buys the opinion, the trend, the short term, the medium term, and the long term. And it comes up with that ranking. Oop. Okay, how about this one? Invesco Premium has got a 72% buy, a trend that says buy, a short term buy, medium term 25% buy, a long term 75%. It's got this strength, or excuse me, trend strength, and direction is all listed, and it put it in order based upon which it put it in order. So now if we drill in, now we can see where they come with this ranking. I think I'm going to need to hire somebody who can speak. So drilling in, I can go to this bar chart opinion and see that last month it was a sell, last week it was a buy, and yesterday it was even a stronger buy. And it knows that because it goes in and it looks at these indicators. Indicators have been around for years. There's many people, Bollinger, Bollinger Bands. There's convergence and divergence type indicators. It's just math based upon a chart. And so 20-day moving average, the MACD, which is the convergence, divergence type trends, 20 to 100 day, 20 to 200 day. This would be the short-term indicators that it's analyzing, and it's saying short-term with the trend spotter, 100% buy. Medium term, you looks at a 50-day moving average and some larger MACD analysis. It came up with a hold, giving you a 25% buy. And then long-term, you get a little more buys, a hold, 75% buy. So this is that ticker AUGXX, and if we go back to our list, sort it, here it is, that 72% buy, the trend, short term, medium term, and long term, just like we went through. Without any tool like this, I would be totally lost. What should I own? What should I own out of all these? I've got to look at all this, read the details, try to interpret the prospectus that they point you to. It tells you that it's a large blend type investment. It gives you a chart, tells you the benchmark. It tells us so much information, but it doesn't tell us whether it's any better than someone else on something else on the list. That's where this tool does. So now I'll get into an area I'm not sure that needs to be taught, but I'm going to talk about it since this is a really rough draft. This is my mom's menu to choose from. She worked at a college. July is her service provider. It's her 403B, and here's her menu. Now, there's a lot of red because we're just in that type of market at the moment. But this BlackRock Life, that's all 100%, I put a little mark here, a note, X. It was removed from her menu 2 months ago. So these two right here were removed from the menu. And she received an email that says that this has been removed and replaced with something else. Well, it was replaced with something else that's down here. So I'll show you what her real menu looks like. Now, these are the top or the fastest horses. Now, I'm able to pick the fastest horses, but there's something going on, the fact that they actually removed much faster horses from the menu. And don't know why that is. So in a nutshell, she's only really invested in these two because I look at it once a month and I move it accordingly. Because of the current market situation, she usually has 4 or 5 that are really top performers based upon the math of those indicators I showed you a while ago. So here's her actual current position. These watch lists are so easy to set up. In a nutshell, if you wanted to set up with your own menu, you can start typing in the tickers now. Oh, we're going to just name this test. We just start typing in the tickers now, and we can put a Apple in there and a mining company in there, and Ford's in there, and Google's in there, and the ETF Q's is in there, and SPY is in there, and GLD, the ETF for gold, is in there. All right, we just add it. I spelled these two wrong. So no worries. But I can show you now, real quick, that gold's the one to own currently, and these Fords. Okay, so you probably hold that. Be no big deal. This one's falling hard. Uranium is not. This UEC for uranium's is on the sell list. Google's Alphabet's on the sell list. The more you put in here, the more options you have. There you go. So I don't know how to turn that into a. Oh, okay. So then on top of that, I did do the this guy right here, Jim. Jim, he is a financial advisor, and I turned him on to this, and it made him really irk because he has all of these mutual funds, and that's where his clients are. He started adding these and getting out of mutual funds so his clients would be happier. And he's been working with this this tool for a couple of months now, and totally changing the way that he looks at where he puts his clients, because the guidance is, in his words, for shit. He gets guidance from his advisors that provide him the products, and they tell him which ones are higher commission products or which ones are, and then he teaches his clients to diversify, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, all across the board, so that way you're safe. Well, as Mark Moss says, that's diversification. So that's just another example. Still not sure how I would put this together in a training tool yet, but yeah, I took all of Vanguard and dumped them in at one point. Let's see if we got any green. Yep, a little bit. There's a Vanguard Global Fund. Lots of good math on the indicators here, and then the rest of it, don't touch it. Lots of Vanguard. 2 pages of red. All right, page and a little bit of red. So there you go. That's my notes. 13 minutes, 14 minutes long. There you go. That's my rough draft. 14 minutes long.